It's just 6 kilometres from the township of Alexandra to Sandton, Johannesburg's newer central business district. But there are 2 different worlds divided by a broad highway. Walking here is not easy, but nevertheless 10,000 people travel to their work in Sandton every day, some of them even at night. At the same time, 75,000 cars enter Sandton, many driven by those who live relatively close to the central business district. In October 2015, the second Eco-Mobility World Festival was held in Johannesburg, a 1-month project in which people were urged to change the way they move and use public transport and other eco-mobile options instead of cars. It was designed to improve the environment, to tackle traffic congestion and, not least, to foster social integration by a new approach to transport policy.
I personally used to walk from Alexandra Township to Sandton in the early 1980s, crossing Greyston Bridge. And I say it wasn't by choice then, and it must be by choice now.
Today we are here by the call of the city of Johannesburg to come and to say to other cities that it is important that we transform walking and cycling from being transportation of the poor to a means of transport, and also understand that cycling as well as walking is a lifestyle change.
For the festival opening, a vibrant parade was organised to link Sandton, often referred to as Africa's richest square mile, and the adjacent low-income township of Alexandra. 2 districts which lie close to each other but are hardly connected.
The city is still spatially divided based on the apartheid design. So transport plays a major role in creating the backbone, especially with us implementing the BRT, in creating corridors of freedom. So what we're going to do is we're going to unite our communities through transport infrastructure.
We want to rewrite the history where people say, during that time, we had people who sat down and said the city must actually work in a way that it promotes economic development, it promotes people living together and all those things. And we're writing that history today. And then this Ecomobility Festival, it's one probably first chapter into that history that we are writing.
Disparity is still evident when it comes to commuting. Black South Africans not only have to spend more money on transport, but on average need significantly longer to reach their work than white South Africans. Eco-mobility is one way to address these inequalities.
Eco-mobility for the poor people, it's about feeling not condemned because of being poor. It's also about reducing costs. So eco-mobility comes in very handy because everybody has a right to move, people want to move, and so they have to be facilitated that we reduce the costs of movement, and we also improve the air quality. We also help them to thrive and interact with the other social groups. So I see it playing a very big role.
Commuters from Soweto are spending 3 to 4 hours per day in public transport travelling to and from their work in Sandton. Hence, public transport is a key element for equality of opportunities. The City of Johannesburg started to improve the transport system. Mayor Parks Tau introduced the concept of corridors of freedom in 2013. These corridors of freedom shall transform past patterns of living and moving in the city, which under the apartheid regime shunted the majority of residents to the outskirts of the city, away from economic opportunities and the city's social and cultural infrastructure. The Eco-Mobility World Festival was one important catalyst within this ambitious paradigm shift in transport policy.
Of course, the Eco-Mobility Festival is not just about the month of October 2015, which is Transport Month in South Africa, but it is also a precursor to the future of Sandton. We are currently investing in dedicated walkways and cycle lanes in Sandton to ensure that you're able to access Sandton. We're also investing in a bus rapid transit system that would have a public transport loop around Sandton so that, in fact, people can have easier access into the area of Sandton. This would link to a BRT dedicated lane that goes over the highway.
The future city will comprise well-planned transport arteries. Joburgers will then no longer have to be reliant on private motorised or unsafe, slow public transport, but will be able to opt for alternatives, including cycling, faster buses on dedicated lanes, and walking on attractive pedestrian walkways.
It's not everyone who comes here who can drive. It's not everyone who comes here who has a car. And these people has to move around the city. These are the people who needs to go to work the following day. The public transport becomes a very critical element to make people reach the opportunities that they can access in the city. So if you look at what transportation is doing and ecomobility is doing, and by looking at the infrastructure that we are putting up, is to begin to create an environment and space for people to actually interact with the economy of Johannesburg.
The corridors of freedom will usher a new era of access to opportunity. Connecting Sandton and Alexandra is one of the first key projects. To improve non-motorised commuting, a new walking and cycling bridge is under construction. By the end of 2016, new cycle lanes and widened sidewalks will be completed. With these, commuting to Sandton without a car will become even more convenient.
I think if it could go to other areas and introduce, it may change the mindset of people and how they think about the government. Maybe they can see that they are finally realizing and doing anything so that we can be a better country, and we might trust our leaders because they are working now.
But ecomobility is not just about infrastructure. It expresses an attitude and an opportunity for learning and empowerment. Johannesburg cyclists gather for a freedom ride twice a year. It's an event for which people of all colours, genders and ages unite in the streets. The course of the ride connects low-income and rich neighbourhoods. During the festival, the exhibition team developed a program to put children in touch with the benefits of ecomobility. Volunteers, clad in orange shirts, guided children through the history of transport, conducted bicycle trainings and showcased new vehicles. These workshops were not only held in the festival area in Sandton, but also took place in Alexandra, where the entire community engaged in the program.
There were 200 volunteers mainly from Alexandra who have been helping with the festival. They've done an amazing job in Sandton, but seeing them in their own territory, majority of them, and seeing them engaging with lots of these kids they know, they've had an opportunity to bring their own children here, and to watch them in action has been remarkable.
The newly established transport plan does not simply change the way people move, but also aims to transform the way people live.
We live insulated lives, so you live in your car or your house, which is often a freestanding house with your wall around you, and you've lost a lot of that contact with your neighbours, with the people you work with. It's changing. There are districts in Johannesburg which are opening up to people in their night markets, and people go there to congregate, and I think it shows that people want to have places to go.
I just saw these young people coming on the skateboards, and it was black and white young people together, and their bodies were in motion. It was like poetry, and they went right into Alex, So the idea that the festival also leads people to understand how social cohesion can take place, how this divide of people on color, the color of your skin. A skateboard can bring you together if the road is there, if you have the freedom to interact.
The Eco-Mobility World Festival allowed a glimpse into the future of a shared city in Johannesburg, where transport will not reinforce but help to overcome urban divides.
As pedestrians, they are giving us our dignity back. So this eco-mobility will make it safer, healthier, and more convenient for us pedestrians who don't own private cars.